Greetings, Earthlings. I am the being known as Gnorts. You may have seen my appearance as a guest streamer on the Vinesauce channel. The body you see here is a remotely controlled clone constructed in a program called VRoid Studio. I am projecting my mind into this body so that I can discuss with you this process. In order to make it easier for you to understand, I will modify the vocal cords to match that of Agent-RedJackal, the one hosting this broadcast for me.
Okay, so this is a program called VRoid Studio, and it is used to make what they call VRoids. VRoids are like, 3D avatars that are used for both like VTuber activities, utilizing software such as VCFace, or they can be used as avatars even in VR chat. So you will see, like, if you've ever been in VR chat before, you might notice a lot of people using these because they are highly customizable. You can, do your own custom textures here and everything like that. I'm not going to really explain that process specifically, but I will show you, sort of explain what I did to create Gnorts. Now, when you're usually going into this and creating something from scratch, you can choose from a base up here. So I think I chose like one of these, the male models, for example, and I had to strip away a lot of things because Gnorts is naked. So I basically had to take away all the clothing. In fact, let me see if I can actually, I don't know if it'll let me change, but I can show off Gnorts first. And then I could sort of change and explain like what I had to do to the male model in order to get it to this point. Also, this program has a tendency to be very touchy sometimes when it's loading stuff, so you'll have to have patience. But this is actually the full Gnorts model. It's a completely nude male model. You can make nude models in this. They don't have any parts, of course. At least at the bottom. You'll have to add those if you want, I guess. But basically, I had to strip away all the clothes. So you see these tabs here. They've got stuff for the face. And they have all these sliders on the side. So I've got certain things here, if you'll notice certain settings. And the interesting thing is in order to... now, it seems like the sliders for these go to a certain point, but you can actually enter in things. Let me show you here. So they have all the features here, like the eyes, shape of the eyes. There's a lot of sliders for things. Now, let's say we want to, like, make the nose a lot bigger than what it is on the slider. You see how the slider only goes to that far? If we wanted a nose bigger than that, you can actually enter it in here. So you put it in, you'll have to be careful because when you put in numbers that are bigger than the slider or lower than the slider can go, it can cause glitches. And it can sort of ruin the visings, which are used to animate the facial expressions. So do keep that in mind if you modify it. So let's say if we'd that's not actually big enough. We'll do how about a 2? Change that to a 2. You see how it goes all the way out? So you can kind of modify things there, but do keep in mind that it can kind of glitch out. But that's kind of basically... Let's see if I can actually undo that. Sort of what I did to kind of get the body to look close enough to what, because the basis for this was like a foam alien. You could find the foam aliens everywhere. They're very common Halloween props. What Gnorts is actually based on. And that's what I used. The textures for this too are actually based on product photos that you can find for the foam alien prop. I had to do some magic work for that because those aliens don't have another side to them. They're just flat on the backside. So I had to do some copying pasting of skin textures in order to make it look like there was something back there. But yeah, you can use sliders. So VRoids had the sliders for the body parts and everything, like face. You can go to the body slider. You can actually change the size of the head, which I had. You notice here, neck length. This is actually a lot. I think I entered this in because this is way beyond what the slider normally goes to. Head size. You can increase Like, obviously, that's way too big, but that's how big you could actually get. But yeah, I had to really tweak the sliders. One thing that I'm not happy with, and it's sort of one reason why I just decided to cover it with headphones, is unless you manage to, like, you'd have to really do some work in Blender for it, but you cannot make the ears disappear. Most of the models have ears, and the thing is the way they're set up, I think the actual, like, it's like a, whenever they have this here, it changes shape. However they have the ear, like, objects set up here, it changes shape. They have it set up to where you can actually use the slider on it. Let's see if I can actually do that. Where is the, it might be in all. Or it might be on the face editor. Let me check. Ears. Okay, here we go. The way they have the ears set up is that, it's probably like a shape that's a lot bigger, like inside of the head. And so when you're starting out, it looks like a normal human ear, but you can actually use the sliders to change them to like elf ears and stuff. But that's why trying to make the ears completely disappear is just like a bit of a mess. And that's something you'd probably have to really patch up in like Blender or something. And I tried to put it in Blender to mess around with it. It just like, me messing with the ears even kind of screwed up like facial expressions and stuff. So I was like, I'll just put the fucking headphones. I'll put the headphones over and that's perfect. And the headphones also cover, because there's a seam here that shows up because the head's normally covered by hair. You're not going to see that seam there. I tried as hard as possible to like get the texture to blend there, but it's a mess. So that's why, you know what, the headset works so perfectly for this to cover up my boo-boos. It was a band-aid. But yeah, let me show you what the sliders do for the ears, if I can actually fix them here. It's the ear volume. So yeah, if I mess around with the slider, it puts it back to where it's supposed to be. So this is like how the regular ears are. His ears now. And you can actually, so you push the slider, you can actually give your VRoid elf ears. And you can even change like, oh, now he looks like Yoder. Like how they're positioned. And that's why it was actually kind of like harder to get rid of the ears. Or even use sliders to make it shrink down enough to make it seem like it wasn't there. Because the actual ear shape is like this whole thing here that you can use sliders on. And it's not just like a tiny thing that you can easily get rid of. So I had to like, I tried to, you can put like negative numbers in here. Like I think I had this at -4, but it kind of really screws things up. If you notice there, it's just like a mess. It's a jumble of stuff. It's not good looking at all. Okay, that's it for sliders. You understand how that works. You know, the body, you can do like so much. You can change the height, you can change the limb length, the hand length, everything like that. And of course, like I said, normally the models that you choose as a base, if you want to use something as a base, you have to get rid of the clothing. So there's a tab here for clothing, and you can actually just like say, let's give Gnorts some see, we got clothes now. You would just get rid of those if you wanted to make like a new alien model. See, they have these. Now here's the thing, like they have these presets, but you can totally customize them with like texture work. Which I can show you here. But, let me see here. So, if you notice on each of the tabs, they have like sliders and things like that, you can go to the smaller tab here, which is the actual texture. And, now if you hate yourself, you can edit the texture in VRoid itself, but I don't recommend doing that because it's kind of shitty to do it this way. But let me show you what you can do to make custom clothing if you don't, do it in Blender, or you don't know Blender that well. You can actually make clothing totally just by the texture alone. It really is just like, it's just it's totally based on the texture. So say if you like, I guess I am kind of giving a basic tutorial of VRoid now, aren't I? Like say you want to like get rid of the sleeves here. Let me change the size of this. Now, you can do this in another program, an outside like image editing program. I recommend you do that because this VRoid actually lets you export the textures out. So if you go over to the side here, second click, or right click or whatever, it'll let you, like, you can duplicate the layers, you can export the image, you can import like your own version of the texture. Like once you're done working on it in another program, you can import it back in and then like see the changes there. But for now, I'm not gonna do that. But I will show you guys the textures that I did work on, and I just use Psy. That's what I tend to use. But let me show you what happens when you erase. Let's see here. I have to choose default. They have layers here, but the default image is like the basic image. So if you actually like erase it, like say we erase the sleeves here. You also kind of have like, you have to sort of, if you do work with clothes in this, you kind of have to have like a knowledge of how textures work too, in a way. Otherwise, you kind of won't know what you're doing. You kind of have to have some knowledge of like how like the texture layout works, especially with clothing. So you see, as I'm erasing here, it's actually getting rid of the sleeve, and that's something you could do. Whoops, I accidentally erased too much. But anyways, that's something you can do to create custom clothing. You can go like, you can just like, say if you want to like custom looking sleeve like this, just like draw out one. I can let me see, let me just do one here. This is, like I said, not the best way to do it. So let's say you did like a shape, you want like a pointy shape or something. You can do it this way, and you can actually just create like a custom sleeve this way. Or custom armor. You can actually just like use the clothing as a base and make whatever you want. That's actually what I did with my the main VRoid that I tend to use for VTubing and VR chat and everything like that. That's entirely like erasing stuff, like export it out to Psy, erasing parts, putting in like textures. A lot of the textures are based on like motorcycle parts and everything, and then I did my own like design work on it. So there's actually a lot of stuff you can do. It's just like it's not the greatest trying to do it in the editor itself. It's better if you export textures out and work on them, which is what I did with Gnorts. So that's how textures work. Let me get rid of the clothing. Go back to the design and get rid of this. You just remove it. There's like socks and stuff too, I think, and there's like accessories and all that. So you can actually just, you know, if it's got anything on there, you want a nude bottle for making a creature or something, just get rid of all this shit here. So I'm gonna show you, this might actually show you the texture here. So I can show you the texture for Gnorts. Is it still showing the freaking, let's see, what am I on here? Clothing editor. Okay, well, he doesn't have clothing, so I'm not gonna worry about that. Here we go, face. Oh, also, there's a hair tab, but, you know, whether you want your aliens to have hair or not is up to you, and that's a whole nother thing. Like, if you want to do hair, just look up a VRoid hair tutorial, honestly. That's not something I'm going to show right now. Maybe I'll give him a wig just to demonstrate, like, towards the end, but honestly, I don't think I should bother. So let me show you the texture for the face for this. It does take a little bit to load. Okay, so you see it's actually got, you can do, there's textures for all the different parts here. And the reason they have it separated is when you export the model out, you can choose to have all of these textures completely separate, or you can have them combined, which having them combined is better for like optimization, especially if you are using this model in like VR chat. Which doesn't, you know, you don't want too many materials on a model. It starts to like, you know, the performance, it affects performance basically when you have like too many separate materials. It's better to just combine them on one thing. So that's something you can do if you want. So you see there's like texture for mouth now. I guess I could show all of these. Now you notice for Gnorts, you can't really see the mouth right now. I can kind of show it. You can kind of see it in a little thing here. But for the mouth and everything, what I did was I actually looked up different pictures of stuff, like stuff that would be kind of gross and work for like I don't know, an alien creature. So like monster teeth, like I don't know what animal's tongue that is. That might be some sort of fish tongue. And then like just meat that I used as a texture and then blended. Like that's learning how to blend textures is really useful, especially if you're like using like realistic textures and stuff. You'll want to like work on textures in general, like you want to learn like using blending, like copying, pasting and stuff, and blending like sides in is a good way to make sure you don't have any seams show up on a texture. But these are all like realistic images they incorporated. Let's see, for the irises. But like I said, I exported all of these out and worked on them in Sci. This, I may have actually, the reference image that I used, I wonder if I can find it. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so these are the reference images that I used. And I also made use of these to make the body textures as well. And if you notice, they aren't all like high resolution images. So what I had to do with the textures, like say I just showed the eye textures here. Those are cut out from the eyes on this image here, I believe. And it's the same with like some of the other textures that I had to do. They're all like cut out and blended together in such a way to where it looks like, you know, a complete model here. But since a lot of these aren't high resolution, I had to, once I was done with the textures, I think I took like an AI upscaler site or something and then put the images in there and just like waited around for that to get done. And that way, like I could sort of like, you know, they were a higher res. Like I just like sharpened them up a little bit and stuff so it didn't look like a crusty JPEG pasted on a body. But now you can see what I used for the textures and stuff. It took a lot of work to try and get things to look cohesive. Get back here. So I can show you, let's see, scleras. But yeah, there's a lot of tabs for just about everything in here. The face skin. Doing face skins for models can be difficult. Now, when you work on a VRoid, they have like a basic, they have like a default skin for all of the parts. They have textures for all the parts, so you can actually use those as a basis, like to put, like to work on your own thing, your own custom thing. So you can see like it'll have the ears and the face and everything. So I had to take the face from the one alien image and kind of work it on here and flatten it out. Basically, it was not easy. It's not easy to take something that's like, you know, in 3D and try and figure out a way to flatten it out. It is not easy at all. And the way you do it though, it's good. Like say if you wanted to like even use your own face to put on a model, which is something people used to do, especially when you're like modding stuff. But the best thing to do is to have like a front facing image of like a head and then a side view. And you could sort of just like cut out parts of each image and sort of fit it together to where it looks like a head flattened out, basically. That's how you do it. I had to do that. Thankfully, there was a side image, like a product image for that foam alien, that I was able to use for this. Okay, and then I'm gonna go, I think the body is the main thing. Also, on the actual, I might mention too, now, I didn't do it by hand, and if I did it by hand, it would probably be better, but the actual Gnorts model here, let me see if I can actually make it, whoops, bigger. But there's some crustiness on the actual, you notice like it's very grimy, like bumpy. The skin is all bumpy. Thought I mentioned too that this is something you can't do in VRoid Studio, but I may have mentioned in another video that VC Face. I did like a Unity tutorial basically, but using the VSF format that VC Face allows you to do, it allows you to export VRoids and put them in Unity, and then export them as a VSF. But when you're able to put them in Unity, you can actually add like normal maps and stuff. And for this, I just like used there's like an online like normal map generator. It can generate different like maps for you, like height maps and stuff. And I just put in the texture for Gnorts in it and let it kind of like use sliders and stuff to sort of like tweak and generate a map for him. So that way he has all the, you know, it's like the bumps and griminess on his skin to make him look like, you know, kind of gross and very alien-like. So that's something you can do, but you can't do it in VRoid Studio. Now, here's the body texture. This was the hardest thing to work on. It was kind of hell because I had to, in order to make the entire body matched up, I wanted to use make textures out of like the images I have. So the reference images. And those are only gonna show so much. It's not gonna I'm not gonna have enough like from those reference images to like just easily make like an entire body. I had to really kind of like I don't know. I had to put my brain meats together to figure out how this thing would look like in full 3D. If I could actually see it in full 3D. Because the foam alien does not have a backside, it was flat. So, what I did though, see if I can actually move around a little bit. I cannot. But you can sort of tell I had to basically, for this, it was a lot of copying, pasting. So I like copied the front and then I had to do a lot of blending. I sort of like mixed the skin texture around in order to make it look like a backside as well. So I just had, I don't know. There was a lot of like custom editing, like inside that I had to do with the skin textures to make it look like, you know, Gnorts' body here. Oh yeah, I can kind of show it. So I did, oh yeah, I added a belly button. I don't think the actual foam alien had one. I was like, you know what? He needs a belly button. And then like the nail, like this texture's nails on it or something. You can get rid of those. I think you can actually erase them so they don't show up. But I was like, give them things. So all of these are like, all the weird textures here. Those are just copied and pasted from those images and blended and all that. And then I put some on the backside too. Yeah, the backside is literally just like stuff that was combined together from like the front of the foam alien from the photo. Same with the arms and everything. The neck, I had to like kind of do some blending together. So same with the head. The head was actually hard to match up too. So I have like, unfortunately, there's still a seam there. It's kind of hard to figure out like where the texture begins and ends with the head texture, because you have you have the head on this texture, which is the body texture, but the rest of the head, like the face and everything, it's on a completely different texture on a face texture. So you have to do it in a way to where it matches up with a completely separate image. So takes a little bit of work. Yeah, I think that's it, really. He's not, like, very complicated. He doesn't have, I mean, I didn't have to add clothes or anything to him, or anything like that. And VRoids are already set up to, like, you can go to, let's go to the exporter here. They already have, like, the expressions. You can customize them, though. Like, they already have blinking, and, like, the mouth movement set up. You can actually like set up the expressions if you want them, test them out. You can actually setting up the expressions is in the face editor, so you want to do it in that first if you want to customize the actual expressions. But you have all these here. These are just for testing, so you can like close the eyes just to see what they would look like when they're closed. So I can like close, just like that's what it would look like when I close them. mouth. You can kind of see how the mouth looks for different expressions and different like visemes for talking. So you can like edit these. You can actually edit all these in the face editor. See what it looks like with you and all that like that. They also have poses too as well. So if you create something in VRoid, you can kind of, if you want to see what it looks like when it's actually like animated, since these are good for like VR chat too and not just VTubers, you can kind of see how it looks just to see. Now, like I said, when I was screwing around with the sliders and putting in numbers that were beyond what the sliders could go, I did like, I think originally I wanted to make maybe the hands bigger or some of the limbs longer, but by doing that, it actually caused like some weird glitching out with the model. You notice though, like the elbows here look like there's a weird seam in them. Well, it was a lot worse when I was working on it for the first time because I wanted those. I was trying to get the arms really long, but that's the thing. You can only mess with those sliders so much. You can only put in the numbers so much before it starts like breaking your model. So you want to be careful with that. But yeah, it's just all these little poses here. Not like you can't actually use a lot of these animations exporting out to VR chat. I think there's a way to set up VC Face to like, so you can hit like a button and play them if you wanted to. They might be built in that way, but they do not carry over to VR chat as far as I know. Only the facial expressions do for the different like emotions. I think that's it. And like, I mean, because now I'm just talking about basic VRoid Studio shit. But yeah, you can, once you're done with it, look, get a butt. You just export it. You want to like, you know, erase transparent meshes. Here's the thing. Like also, I should mention, good thing to know for VRoids, especially if you, like I was showing you how you can erase parts of clothing and everything like that. If you do that for a lot of the clothing and everything like that, absolutely make sure you hit this check mark, the erase transparent meshes. Yes, meshes. Otherwise, all those transparent parts will still be counted in the polygons. It will not erase those at all. You'll, like, say if you actually look at, if you put the model in a program where you can look at the wireframe, you'll still see the wireframe for the clothing, even if you erased it. So absolutely, if you're exporting this and you put like clothing and erase it, absolutely hit that check mark thing here. And then let me kind of move on. But it's got like, so you can use sliders for, to reduce the mesh even more. Like, let's see what we could do here. If you do this, it gets less smooth. So you can like really, oh God, it's awful looking. You can make it look like really, look at those edges there. Make it low poly. We have no clothing on this. Hair even. I'm not gonna do that. I like the smooth body. That is fine. It's not really a problem for VC Face as far as I know. VR chat maybe, but they've updated things where you can allow more, so. Material count. Let me move my head here. There's a material reduction thing here. Let me see if I can move this over. That's, you know, that gives you, if you want to have, I think if you choose none, it combines everything into like one material. And then like the more you go, the more it separates all the different parts into separate images. So like you can have 12 where it's like everything, 8 where it's only like certain things, 2 where it's only 2, you know, that sort of thing. Texture quality, shrinked. Ooh, I wonder what that does. That probably makes it look really shitty. We'll keep it original. And then there's a bone reduction thing too, to like reduce, like if you have hair bones, which, you know, a lot of people with the human models would probably have hair, and that's going to add to your like bone count and everything, so they would probably want to use that slider. That's it really. That's what I did to make the Gnorts. Hopefully that was understandable. It is cool, like if you're able to just you know, do stuff like this and you're not like limited to, you know, anime characters, I don't mind making like, you know, something that looks like anime. My main avatar that I have, they use for like VC Face and VR chat, you know, that's an Animu Android and everything. But you don't have to make that in VRoid Studio. You can make an alien if you want to. Like if you use my process and then, you know, make a grimy alien if you want, you could probably make even more things. I'm sure you're kind of limited by the sliders though, and you can't really like fuck with them too much because you'll end up screwing up the facial visemes. But I would say like you could use this as a base for like a creature, and then you'd have to go export it into Blender, and you know, add parts of that. You could edit visemes. You use they have a plugin called Cats that you can use for like VR chat avatars and VRMs and everything like that. You can use that to like, you know, convert your VRMs over, and it'll allow you to do like a bunch of stuff. It'll allow you to like create custom blend shapes so that you can make your own like facial expressions if you want, make your own kind of like blinking eye movement, whatever you want. So like if you use this as a base to make a creature, put it in Blender and then like go and make your own visemes for a mouth or something. Like say if you had to like model out like a snout or something, if it's a not so humanoid creature. But I think this thing is kind of good to use as a base though. But that's it. I hope that made a lot. I hope that was easy to follow. Maybe I like to ramble. So, but thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy Mr. Gnorts. And hopefully he'll make some more appearances. I don't know. But thank you again. Goodbye.